Great. So for part three with LionHeart, it'd be lovely to look at what does support actually look like in terms of how does the process work. So it feels a bit more familiar. You're not feeling like you're getting in touch and it's an unknown as to what's happening next. So
Yeah.
I suppose the first contact, would that be potentially a form on the website or a phone call?
So we've got our helpline where someone can contact us through the telephone line where they'll get access to our support officer. And then more recently on our website, we've also got a chat option that's available. So you can put your kind of inquiry through there, and then a support officer will get in contact through that option as well.
Are there certain hours that's available, or is that sort of 9 to 5? Or
So our chat option on the website is available during office hours 9 till 5, and then a support officer will kind of get back in contact. We know that making that first phone call is so difficult for people, so this is just another way to get in contact with us.
Yeah, and we've also found, Parita, and this is one of the reasons why we introduced the web chat function, was that if individuals are in an office and they really feel like they need that help now, they can start that process. They can reach out through the web chat and start that conversation without having to pick up the phone. So we just recognised that was another way of individuals getting in touch.
That's interesting. And I suppose actually, once you've gone through the chat aspect, a call gets arranged, I assume. And is there is that during office hours as well, or is that available sort of around that? Because if you work in an office 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, other than I suppose running out for lunch, when does the call tend to happen?
So calls are normally arranged, something that's going to work for the RICS professional that we're supporting, and we'll just find a time that kind of works for us and for them. I think that's kind of really important. And sometimes if some calls do need to be made, after work, we do try and work around that as well.
Interesting. Okay. And I suppose then, what does an actual helpline call look like? So if I'm calling you for the first time, what does that process look like, and how long is the call, or what happens next?
So when our support officers take that first phone call, what they'll do in that first call is to really understand what the kind of support is looking like, what the kind of issues that they're facing. And sometimes someone ringing in might think that they're calling in for one thing, and we have this a lot, that they might feel that they need support for financial grants because they've lost a job. But when you have that first conversation, you delve in deeper, you realise that there are other types of support that we're able to provide them with, and perhaps other issues that are going on in the background. So, for example, if someone feels like they need some financial support, we'll then find out that it's because perhaps they're no longer in work at the moment. So we're also able to look at supporting them, getting into work, or whether the partner or the spouse needs any support. Because I think the thing is when we have challenges in life, it doesn't just affect us as an individual, it affects the whole family. And so we really look at how can we support you and how can we support the kind of family. So we'll have a look at what the situation is and really kind of understand that, and then provide them with some options about the support that we can provide. But no one phone call is the same. Like, we try to understand what the situation is, and it's not a one size fits all. So each phone call will be very different based on what is going on for that particular individual.
And as Parita says, we really pride ourselves in a holistic approach to those calls, because you do speak to a human being and they are listening to the challenges that the individual is facing. We do have that ability to look at what else would support individuals. I mean, quite often we have individuals approaching us for our coaching service. We do have a qualified coach on staff, and those initial conversations will actually unearth that the individual probably needs a little bit of counselling. There's some real challenges in life that need to be unpacked and dealt with before they can embark on the coaching. So then we have the ability to kind of pause the coaching, look at counselling, and then revert back to the coaching at a later date when it's more appropriate. So that's the real benefit of having those support officers on staff and that human being on the end of the line.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And how long is that support available? So let's say we've had the first call. Perhaps there's some, obviously further discussions that I had with different support people, depending on what the topic was, what the issue is. But how long is that support available? Is it ongoing? Is it fixed for a certain amount of time?
Yeah.
Are there limits to it, I suppose?
No, so I think, like Melissa said, I think one of the unique ways in which we work means that every person calling, we make sure we understand what their kind of individual circumstances are. So we will tailor our services to their needs, and that's why it's so important. The way that we work is that so that individual doesn't feel like that they're just a number. So with some of our services, so for example, the counselling service that we've got, we offer up to 10 weekly sessions. We find that this number works for most people. If someone required more sessions, that's something that we do look into. So again, it depends on individual kind of circumstances with that. And our aim is to really stop their difficulties from becoming a crisis. But like I've said, again, one size doesn't fit all. So we will work around that individual, and we are here for them for as long as they need us, and we'll do whatever we can to get them back on their feet and to support them.
Awesome. And I think one of the things we touched on earlier was the types of areas you cover. But I suppose just to touch on that in a bit more detail, what types of support are provided? Because we've touched on like the mental health aspects and financial and so on. But yeah, what are the sort of key sort of support areas that you provide?
So we do have a variety of different services that we offer. So like I said, one of our most popular services is our counselling service. So we've got in-house BACP qualified counsellors. And I know that the waiting times for counsellors in the NHS can be many months, depending on where you are for the country. So with our counsellors, you can be speaking to someone within a couple of weeks. We're actually also recently expanding our counselling service to also include couples counselling, which we've not done before. So we're really looking forward to offering that service as well. We also help people back to work. So we are here when the tough times kind of hit people, and it can be a struggle sometimes when you're trying to get back into work, whether that is after a career break or whether that's after ill health or after kind of maternity. So it just really depends on what the situation is, but we do have support available for that as well. And then we've also got debt advice that we offer, so we can really explore people's financial situation, and if appropriate, then we can refer people to one of our specialist debt counselling partners. Then we've also got our legal advice, so that can be a personal or work-related matter, where they'll get kind of one-off advice around a legal matter. And then one of our more recent kind of developments is our APC support over the last few years. So our support officers offer a free practice session for anyone taking their final assessment to run through their presentation and just to really offer tips on their presentation style and tackling nerves so that they feel as confident as possible going into the big day. And while we don't offer any technical advice, many candidates have found it really useful just to have an impartial sounding board and then have gone on to pass their chartership as well. So this support's been really, really popular. And then we have got, general support that people will call through. So we've got our support officers that can help with kind of pretty much other things as well. Things like anxiety, stress, or whether it's dealing with bereavement. It could be a one-off conversation that someone needs to have. It's like a very wide variety of services that we have. And then we also have our financial grants as well. So we support people financially as well.
Yeah, those financial grants that we get, we have emergency cover, don't we, as well as long-term financial support. We do have a non-means tested emergency grant. We've been able to help surveyors in Ukraine and Turkey recently who have been made homeless or displaced, and we're really proud to be able to do that because we can get it to them very quickly. It might be before insurances kick in, or if they just not have the access to finances and they need to find somewhere to stay or they need emergency supplies, and we can get that to them fairly quickly. So there is that additional area that we have to financial support as well. And I think, Parita, you were talking about APC. I think the biggest bit of feedback we get is that it really has helped them with the nerves. I think we quite often get contacted by individuals who have been referred, and not just once, more than multiple times. And, sometimes those individuals have really got to the stage where they're like, well, is surveying really for me? Do I need to look at another career? And we've been able to help talk them through what is causing the difficulty with the APC and help them to succeed. And a lot of them have gone on to succeed after referral because they've been able to contact us and we've been able to support them.
Yeah, it's so lovely when you get that feedback and they've said that we've passed our final assessment and thank you so much. But yeah, I think all the feedback that we get from the people that we support is just so heartwarming, and it's really, really, really nice.
It's nice. You can hear the passion coming through. I think it's quite an impressive array of services, and I think it does help to alleviate any fear you might have about, is this something I can talk about? Because I don't think there was much that I can't think of anything that wasn't covered in that. So it's you really can reach out about anything, and it means you'll have had those conversations, probably a number of times before. So you'll be able to help provide different solutions. So no, it's quite impressive. I think the only other aspect I think we discussed before this, there are some sort of training opportunities available as well. What does that cover? Is that the APC part, or are there other areas for that?
No, so there's so many different areas. I think over the last, I'd say, kind of 5 years, especially since COVID, we've really expanded our kind of training program so it covers webinars as well as some workshops as well. So we've got 5 main areas for our training program. We've got firstly webinars around well-being, so things like work-life balance or a 360-degree approach to mental well-being. We've also got webinars around career development, so things like better presentation skills and beyond imposter syndrome. We've mentioned some of the APC support, so we have got some webinars around people that are sitting their APC, so things like supercharge your well-being, boosting your resilience and building your confidence as well. And then from some feedback that we've received, we've also developed webinars for post APC, so people that have just passed their APC. We had feedback that there was a lot of support available when you're sitting your APC, but then once you've passed, you're kind of just left to your devices to kind of start your career. So we've developed some webinars to help people starting out in their career as well. So things like better skills for business and relationship management for work, as an example. So they are all on our website. And we've actually got just over 40 different webinars and workshops that cover all of these topics, as well as some financial education ones as well. We understand that not everyone is going to be able to, view a live webinar or perhaps attend like a face-to-face workshop. So we have got a webinar library that sits on our website, and so they can be accessed anytime, and you're able to view or download the webinars there as well. And then just adding to our training program, as mentioned before, we've just recently launched our first ever podcast series around wellbeing. So we've got 6 episodes that sit on our website. And some of those topics are things like overwhelm and burnout, social anxiety, different difficult situations at work, fear, failure and disappointment. So we're now looking at recording more podcasts next year and kind of keeping that going. So we've tried to offer a variety of different training methods, so things that people can listen to, they can watch, they can download, or we can have face-to-face as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of good resources there. So definitely was something definitely worth checking out.